So like 2 months ago, my girlfriend broke up with me. And I was sad, depressed. Every night I'd cry into my pillow, both before and after masturbating to the one naked picture I have of her. I was basically a portrait of patheticism. After about a month, I decided I needed to stop. It was getting too painful, both mentally and physically. I said to myself, Rob, you need to stop being pathetic and get yourself out there. And I did. I stopped being pathetic and I got myself out there on the internet and met this 27-year-old girl from Albuquerque. We ended up really meeting in person, and she ended up really being a girl, which meant I ended up really not having to use my pocket knife on her, which is always a good thing. We start talking, and she starts telling me about how she had just got a divorce, now she has a 3-year-old daughter, and that she has a fuck buddy now because she'll never settle down again. And I'm like, stop the press. This sounds like the beginning of a beautiful friendship, albeit a platonic one, being that due to a pregnancy scare I've sworn myself off fuck buddies. I do want to settle down again, but I never will with someone who has a kid already. So a few days later, we're talking on the phone, and she asked me if I've ever seen the new Rambo. And I say no, and she says she could bring it over, and I say, okay, which is fine, because it'd been a while since I had a girl over to watch a movie with. And she comes over, and we're sitting on the couch watching the movie, and about halfway through, she lays her head on my shoulder, which, is fine, because it'd been a while since I had a girl put her head on my shoulder. And towards the end of the movie, we start kissing, which is fine, because, well, it'd been a while since I kissed a girl. So the next day, I get this call, and it's her, and she immediately starts asking, what are we? Which is a surprising question coming from a girl who just told me she'd never settle down again. And I'm like, what are we? We just kissed. And she's like, exactly. I'm like, you have a fuck buddy. She's like, I don't kiss him. And I'm like, who are you, Julia fucking Roberts? Pretty woman? I say, you are my best Albuquerque friend. And then I leave it at that. So, like, a week later, we go to this concert, and it's fun, and we get really drunk, and afterwards she comes over, and we're laying in my bed. And she starts telling about these 2 other guys she hung out with earlier in the week, and that she blew them. She gets so specific, in fact, I even find out that one of them came and the other one didn't. And somehow this conversation segues into her telling me how much she likes me and how special she thinks I am, because ever since she got divorced, she's told herself she'd never settle down again, but that she'd make an exception for me. And in my head, the only thing that makes me more special than these 2 other guys is that I hadn't been blown yet. And I don't know how or why it happened, maybe out of a need for me to feel special, but we end up having sex. And the next day, she gives me a call, and guess what she asks? The what are we question again. And I'm like, what are we? We're friends. And she's like, who have sex with each other? And I'm like, you just blew 2 guys earlier this week. She's like, I didn't have sex with them. And I'm like, I should call my middle school English teacher and let her know that I finally realized what semantics are. I say, you are my best Albuquerque friend, and I leave it at that. This whole scenario started making me think about the decisions I've been making, and I came to the conclusion that I had come devastatingly close to living a cliche. I was the single guy having casual sex to try to forget about his ex-girlfriend. I wanted more than that. I wanted to be more than that. I pulled out some old poems I wrote in high school and realized that in the past 9 years, I'd become quite the cynic when it came to relationships. For too long, I've relied too heavily on my good looks and sense of humor and hadn't really tried. I wanted to try again. I wanted to write the poetry, buy the flowers, be the best boyfriend I could be.